Hello there, welcome to the news on Nepal television. I'm Rojina Rai, starting with the headlines first. PM heading to Chengdu from Lhasa as part of his tour to northern neighbor to return home tomorrow from Chengdu. Nepal observing World Heart Day amid rise in cardiovascular disease. Cardiovascular disease accounts up to 80% of deaths worldwide. Shooting rampage at a house and a hospital in the Netherlands kills 3 people. Police initiates investigation after arresting a gunman in combat dress. And Nepal continues its dismal performance in the ongoing Asian Games as it remains medalist so far, host China on top with 94 golds. Welcome back. Now we have the news in detail. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal, who is currently on a week-long official visit to China, is visiting Chengdu today. PM Dahal is making his visit to Chengdu after concluding his official visit to Lhasa, China's Tibet Autonomous Region. PM Dahal has boarded a flight from Ngari Gunsa Airport at Mansarovar to Lhasa Airport and now is flying to Chengdu from Lhasa. In Chengdu, PM Dahal will be observing the Conservation and Research Center Panda, and he will be paying a high-ranking official visit to Chiwa Wang Xiaohui, of Secretary of Chinese Communist Party of Sichuan Province. Likewise, he will be joining banquet hosted by Wang Xiaohui by today evening. During the PM's visit to China, various bilateral meeting with the Chinese officials on interest of Nepal was held in different events. After concluding week-long official visit to China, PM Dahal and his delegation are scheduled to return home from Chengdu tomorrow. He is in official visit to China since last Saturday. The formal talks between the agitating relief quota teachers and government has been scheduled for this afternoon. The talks has been called for today after at the Ministry of Education, Science and Technology in Singapore after the ministry invited for talks, sending an official letter. The representatives of agitating teachers and child development teachers held informal talks with the Education Minister Ashok Kumar Rai Thursday. Relief quota teachers are individuals employed on a contractual basis by local units to fulfill the shortage of teachers at community schools. These relief teachers have mobilized in a public demonstration demanding amendments to the education bill to address their concerns. Their primary demand is to convert relief positions into permanent ones through internal competition, ensuring 100% permanent workforce while also accounting for their temporary service period. There are around 40,000 such teachers across the country. Now to the further development, CPN is going to vote to choose the leadership for the convention of Bagmati province today. The election that was initially scheduled for Thursday is being held after 2 p.m. at the party's central office in Siasa, Lalitpur. The postponement comes after attempts to reach a consensus on the Bagmati chairman proved unsuccessful, of Kailas Dhungel and Krishna Prasad Dahala vying for the post of chairman of CPN Bagmati province president. We shall get back with more updates at the side. We do have. Stay with us. Welcome back. You are watching Nepal Television News. Now we have remaining updates. Today is the World Heart Day. It is celebrated on 29th September every year globally. The day is being celebrated organizing various programs across Nepal also. The theme for this year's World Heart Day is Use Heart, No Heart. As per the statistics, globally around 110 million men and 80 million women have suffer Coronary heart disease kills an estimated 9 million people each year. In 2019, it was the world's single biggest killer. Around 1 in 6 deaths globally are caused by coronary heart disease, and it is more prevalent in developing countries by 80%. Cardiovascular disease continues to severely affect health, societies and economies around the world. It is also the leading cause of the death in the EU and in the world. According to the data obtained from Nepal Heart Foundation, nearly 7.5 million people suffer heart disease, 20% of people suffer cholesterol, 10% diabetic, and the all-age prevalence rate of CVDs has increased. Health experts suggest people to be aware of regular health checkup routine and visit doctors on time. Now to the further development that we have from international frontline. A gunman dressed in combat gear and wearing a bulletproof vest went on a shooting rampage at a house and a hospital in Rotterdam on Thursday, killing a 14-year-old girl, a mother and a teacher. Dutch police said they were still investigating the motive for the twin attacks by the 32-year-old man, who also set fire to the hospital and the house. The man first burst into the house in the Dutch port city and opened fire, killing a 39-year-old woman and seriously injuring her 14-year-old daughter. Police Chief Fred Westerweke told reporters the girl later died of her injuries. He then entered a classroom at the Erasmus MC University Hospital, shooting dead a 46-year-old teacher before starting another fire in the facility, sparking panic. The gunman was taken into custody. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said his country is serious about building closer ties with India despite an ongoing diplomatic row. His latest remarks come at a time when ties between the two countries are at an all-time low. Tensions flared up when Trudeau on 19 September said Canada was investigating credible allegations of India's involvement in the murder of a Sikh separatist leader. Delhi dismissed the claims as absurd. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was murdered outside a temple in Canada in June. On Thursday, the Canadian PM said it was extremely important to constructively and seriously engage with India. We still have international headliners at the side. Stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. Now we have remaining international headliners. Two senior US and Chinese diplomats met in Washington and held what the US side described as a candid, in-depth and constructive consultation, the latest in a series of recent talks to keep lines of communication open between the world's two largest economies. US Assistant Secretary of State for East Asian and Pacific Affairs Daniel met with the Chinese Vice Foreign Minister for Asia Sun Weidong, the State Department said in a statement on Thursday. The meeting followed other high-level engagements between the two countries in recent months that have seen visits from the high-profile US officials to China, like Secretary of State Antony Blinken in June, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen in July, and Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo in August. Oil prices fell in early trade on Friday after a recent rally, as profit-taking and expectations of supply increases by Russia and Saudi Arabia outweighed forecast of positive demand from China during its Global Week holiday. Oil prices had eased about 1% on Thursday as traders took profits after prices soared to 10 months high. And some worried that high interest rates may weigh on oil demand. The market is currently tight with the combined cuts of 1.3 million barrels per day to the end of the year by Saudi Arabia and Russia. Parts of OPEC, the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries OPEC and allies. Russia recently eased its separate ban on fuel exports introduced to stabilize the domestic market, and analysts do not expect a restriction to stay for long because it may hit refinery runs and impact relations with customers. A new report of the Swiss Academy of Natural Sciences states that the Swiss glaciers have lost 10% during the past 2 years. One extreme year follows another. Even glaciologists are surprised by these figures. At this rate, Swiss glaciers will have disappeared completely by the end of the century after losing 6% of their volume in 2022. Swiss glaciers have shrunk by a further 4% this year. This is the second biggest decline since measurements began, says Mauro Fischer, glaciologist, University of Bern. To the more updates, before that, let's have a quick look into the highlights of the site. Researchers in Spain have identified a new species of sauropod dinosaur, which lived in the Iberian Peninsula 122 million years ago. The discovery, described to the Geological Journal of the Linnean Society, was made in Morella, a municipality in the province of Castellón in the Valencia region. According to the research, the dinosaur from the early Cretaceous stood 10 meters tall. This is the sixth new dinosaur species to be discovered in Valencia, 5 of which were found in Morella. The discovery expands the diversity of dinosaurs known to have inhabited the mountainous Castellón region of El Pots, which has one of the best fossil records from the early Cretaceous in Europe. Now, time for sports. Nepal's performance in the 19th Asian Games underway in Hangzhou, China, continues to be disappointing as it remains medalless so far. Nepal lost to India in the squash men's team event under the Asian Games after suffering 3-0 defeat. Both the men's and women's team have suffered a defeat in fencing. Men's team lost to Kazakhstan while women's team lost to Japan. Meanwhile, host China so far leads the medal tally with a total of 175 medals. That includes 94 golds, 55 silver and 26 bronze. South Korea remains at second place with 88 medals, including 24 gold, while Japan trails behind with 82 medals, including 19 golds. Nepal so far remains medalist till the 7th day of the Asian Games. Spanish soccer club Barcelona are under investigation for suspected active bribery as part of the probe into suspected corruption spanning 2 decades at the refereeing committee. Police also searched the offices of the Spanish refereeing committee inside the Football Federation RFEF headquarters in Madrid on Thursday. The Barcelona court said as part of the ongoing inquiry into possible systematic corruption within the CTA. Spanish football and the RFEF in particular are ongoing through a moment of reckoning amid allegations of sexual abuse against former RFEF chief Luis Rubiales. The refereeing investigation has now been widened to include Barcelona as a suspect. Investigating Judge Joaquin Aguirre Lopez said earlier this September the club may have benefited from graft. With this, we come to the end of this news bulletin. But before we say goodbye, quick reminders of the headlines once again. PM heading to Chengdu from Lhasa as part of his tour to northern neighbor to return home tomorrow from Chengdu. Nepal observing World Heart Day amid rising cardiovascular disease accounts up to 80% of deaths worldwide. Shooting rampage at a house and a hospital in the Netherlands kills 3 people. Police initiates investigation after arresting a gunman in combat dress. And Nepal continues its dismal performance in the ongoing Asian Games as it remains medalless so far. Host China on top with 94 goals. Well, this is all we have at this moment. Until our next bulletin, have a good day ahead. Namaste.